Last year, a company lost $2.3 million because of a 6-line C++ lambda. It was not an unusual bug. It was a memory-related issue that 4 senior engineers reviewed and approved. It passed code review, it passed testing, it hit production, and the damage took months to fully understand and repair. This kind of story is not rare. 70% of all security vulnerabilities at Microsoft trace back to memory errors in C and C++ code. The same number at Google. Android had 76% of all vulnerabilities coming from memory safety issues in C and C++ code as recently as 2019. And for years, the software industry accepted this as the cost of doing business in systems programming. In 2026, that acceptance is ending. Microsoft is rewriting Windows in Rust. Google has driven Android's memory vulnerability rate from 76% down to below 20% by replacing C and C++ components with Rust. CISA set a January 2026 deadline, requiring major software vendors to publish memory safety roadmaps. The question in enterprise engineering teams is no longer whether to adopt Rust, it is how fast can we migrate. So in this video, I want to give you the full honest picture. We will look at where Rust and C++ are genuinely equivalent, where they are different, write the same code in both, and at the end I will tell you whether the switch is worth it depending on exactly where you are and what you are building. Let's go. Before we dive in, I want to talk about Aarambh Dev Hub's partner, CodeCrafters, and this one I actually mean it when I say it is a good one. If you have been watching Aarambh Dev Hub for a while, you already know that we are all about understanding how things actually work under the hood. Not just using tools, but truly understanding them. Why does Redis work the way it does? How does Git actually store your commits? What is really happening when you type a command in your shell? CodeCrafters is built around exactly that same curiosity. CodeCrafters is a platform where you rebuild real developer tools from scratch. Things like Git, Redis, a shell, an HTTP server, a DNS server, a BitTorrent client, you actually build them yourself, stage by stage, in your own language. Every stage unlocks the next, and you can see exactly how far along you are as you go. Now the most popular language on CodeCrafters is Rust, and that makes total sense for this channel. If you're just getting started with Rust and want to learn it the right way, this is honestly one of the best approaches out there. Instead of reading theory or doing small exercises that go nowhere, you sit down and build something real. Something you have actually heard of. Something that exists in the real world. And that is when Rust really starts to click. This is not your typical tutorial platform where you just watch someone else code and feel like you learned something. You are the one writing the code, you are the one debugging it, you are the one making it pass each stage. That kind of active, hands-on learning is what actually makes you a better systems programmer, and I will be honest. It is genuinely a lot of fun. The challenges are used by engineers at companies like Google, Meta, and Shopify. And if your company has a learning and development budget, there is a very good chance CodeCrafters is covered under it, meaning it could cost you absolutely nothing out of pocket. Worth checking with your manager before you pay yourself. The link is in the description below. Check it out, and if you do sign up through it, you also directly support Aarambh Dev Hub, so thank you in advance if you do. Alright, now let us get into the video. Before we write any code, I want to give you the mental model that makes everything else in this comparison make sense. C++ and Rust both compile to native machine code. Both have zero-cost abstractions, both can produce binaries that are as fast as anything you can write. In raw performance benchmarks, they are within 1 to 5% of each other in almost every benchmark category. The performance question in 2026 is essentially settled. They are equivalent. The difference is not performance. The difference is who is responsible for correctness. In C++, the compiler gives you maximum control and trusts you to use it correctly. You manage memory manually or through smart pointers and RI patterns that require discipline to use consistently. The compiler will compile code that has a use-after-free bug. It will compile code with a buffer overflow. It will compile code that has a data race in a multi-threaded program. It trusts that you know what you are doing. In Rust, the compiler does not trust you. It verifies correctness at compile time. The ownership and borrow checker system means that use-after-free bugs, buffer overflows, null pointer dereferences, and data races cannot exist in safe Rust code. If your code has any of these problems, it does not compile. The compiler catches them at build time, not at 3 a.m. in production. This is not a small difference. This is the difference between catching a bug in 2 seconds on your laptop versus catching it after a $2.3 million incident. If this context is useful, hit the like button. It helps this reach more systems programmers. Subscribe for deep dive content like this every week. Back to the comparison. Let me show you the benchmark reality because there are still a lot of myths about Rust being slower than C++. The most comprehensive public benchmark suite is the benchmarks game maintained by the community. For compute-intensive workloads, binary trees, n-body simulation, Fibonacci, Mandelbrot, Rust and C++ compiled with Clang or GCC are within 1 to 5% of each other in almost every test. Sometimes Rust is slightly faster, sometimes C++ is. The margin is not consistent enough to declare a winner. The reason Rust is sometimes slightly faster in certain benchmarks is interesting. Rust's ownership model enables more aggressive compiler optimizations. When the Rust compiler knows that exactly one reference exists to a piece of data at a given point, it can apply aliasing optimizations that C++ compilers must be conservative about. In C++, 2 pointers might alias the same memory location. The compiler has to be careful about reordering operations. In safe Rust, the borrow checker guarantees that this aliasing cannot happen, so the compiler can optimize more aggressively. Let me show you the same algorithm in both languages, a concurrent matrix multiplication, to illustrate both the performance and the safety difference. In C++, a naive threaded implementation. This code looks correct. Each thread writes to a different row of result. In practice, this is safe. But the C++ compiler cannot verify this. It sees multiple threads accessing a shared vector, and it has to trust that you have correctly ensured they do not overlap. If you made a mistake and 2 threads wrote to the same row, you would have a data race. Undefined behavior. Possibly a crash, possibly silently corrupted data. Now the same thing in Rust using Rayon. Rayon is the parallel iteration library for Rust. The features equals full for Rayon gives us parallel iterators that work just like regular Rust iterators, but automatically use all CPU cores. Let me walk through this carefully. The pariter method on a slice gives us a parallel iterator. Everything after pariter is the same functional style as regular Rust iterators, map, collect, but Rayon automatically distributes the work across threads. Here is the critical difference from the C++ version. The Rust compiler knows that each closure in pariter processes one row independently. The borrows are structured so each iteration is completely isolated. There is no shared mutable state. The compiler verifies this at compile time. If you tried to write to shared data across threads in a way that could cause a data race, the borrow checker would refuse to compile your code. You do not have to trust your own reasoning about thread safety. The compiler does it for you. On a 4-core machine, this runs in roughly a quarter of the sequential time. The performance is identical to the C++ version. But the Rust version is guaranteed correct by the compiler. Let me talk about tooling because this is one of the clearest wins for Rust over C++ in 2026, and it affects your productivity every single day. C++ tooling in 2026 is good but fragmented. CMake is the standard build system, but it is notoriously complex. A CMake lists 2x2 file for a non-trivial project can be hundreds of lines. Dependency management has improved with Conan and VCPKJ, but neither is as seamless as what Rust offers. Clang has made IDE support much better in recent years. Address Sanitizer and Thread Sanitizer are excellent runtime analysis tools. But they find bugs at runtime, not at compile time. Rust's toolchain is unified from day one. Cargo handles building, testing, dependency management, documentation generation, benchmarking, and publishing to crates.io, one tool. No configuration for simple projects. To add a dependency, you add one line to cargo toml and cargo build downloads, compiles and links it. No cmakelists.axt, no finding package headaches. Clippy is the Rust linter that goes beyond style. It catches actual logic errors and suggests better patterns. If you write code that is technically correct but likely to be a mistake, Clippy tells you. This feels more like a senior developer reviewing your code than a style checker. The compiler error messages are famously better. When you make a mistake in Rust, the compiler shows you exactly where the problem is, explains why it is a problem, and often suggests the fix. When you make a mistake in C++, you can get pages of template error messages that require significant experience to interpret. Compile times are the legitimate complaint. A large Rust project compiles noticeably slower than equivalent C++. Incremental builds are much faster, but full clean builds in Rust are slower. For a large codebase, this is a real daily friction. The Rust team is actively working on this, and compilation speed has improved significantly in recent compiler versions, but it is not yet at C++ levels. One of the most common questions I get is, how do you migrate an existing C++ codebase to Rust? The answer is incremental migration via FFI, the foreign function interface. Rust can call C and C++ functions, and C and C++ can call Rust functions. The boundary between the two is explicit and controlled. You can replace individual C++ modules with Rust implementations one at a time, keeping the rest of the codebase unchanged. The CXX crate is the most ergonomic way to bridge Rust and C++ in 2026. It generates safe bindings for both sides. Then in a bridge file you declare what crosses the boundary. This pattern lets Google, Microsoft, and Meta do exactly what they are doing: replace C and C++ components with Rust implementations gradually, validating each piece before moving on. A full rewrite is not required. The migration can happen module by module over months or years, while the system continues running in production. If you are working on a Rust or C++ project and want to discuss migration strategies or system design, come join the Discord. The link is in the description. We run a weekly Sunday study group, and it is a great place to think through these decisions with other developers. Link is below. I want to be honest about where C++ still has real advantages in 2026, because I think a lot of Rust content is too one-sided. Game engines are still predominantly C++. Unreal Engine is C++. The entire AAA game industry is built on C++ codebases that are decades old, massively optimized, and deeply integrated with platform-specific APIs. Rewriting a game engine in Rust is not a realistic near-term proposition for most studios. The Bevy game engine in Rust is genuinely impressive, but it is still maturing, and the ecosystem of art tools, asset pipelines, and middleware that C++ game developers rely on is built around C++. Real-time audio and DSP systems often stay in C++. The Juice framework, which powers most professional audio plugins, is C++. The latency requirements in audio are extremely tight, microseconds matter, and the existing C++ tools for profiling and optimization in audio are mature in ways that Rust alternatives are not yet. Embedded systems with extremely constrained targets, microcontrollers with very small flash and RAM, proprietary RTOS environments, specific vendor toolchains often require C++ because the vendor toolchain does not support Rust targets. This is changing, but it is not universal in 2026. And of course, existing large C++ codebases. Switching a multi-million-line C++ codebase to Rust is a multi-year, multi-team effort. The economics have to justify it. For a legacy system that is stable and not receiving many new features, the migration cost may not be worth it. Before the final verdict, if this channel has helped you understand Rust and systems programming, and you want to support the work, you can buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. Every supporter makes it possible to keep building these projects and making these videos. Genuinely thank you to everyone who has already. Let me give you the answer based on where you actually are. If you are starting a new systems programming project from scratch in 2026, a new service, a new library, a new tool, a new infrastructure component, Rust is the better default. The memory safety guarantees, the better tooling, the integrated package manager, and the modern developer experience all point in the same direction. The learning curve is real. Give yourself 2 to 6 months to feel truly comfortable, but you are building on a foundation that is provably safer and increasingly better supported by major enterprises and governments. If you are a C++ developer considering whether to add Rust to your skills, yes, absolutely. The job market pays a premium for Rust skills because supply is still short. The concepts you learn in Rust, ownership, borrowing, lifetimes, make you a better C++ developer too, because they force you to think explicitly about memory management in ways that C++ lets you gloss over. If you are maintaining an existing C++ codebase, the migration path is gradual. Identify the components with the worst track records for memory-related bugs. Those are your best candidates for incremental Rust replacement using CXX or direct FFI. You do not need to rewrite everything. Start where the pain is highest. If you are in game development, Professional audio or a domain with deep C++ dependencies and toolchain requirements, C++ remains the practical choice for now. Rust will get there, but it is not there yet for every use case. The overall trajectory is clear. By 2026 and 2027, Rust is becoming the default for new infrastructure software. C++ remains dominant in existing codebases, games, and certain embedded systems, but new greenfield projects are increasingly choosing Rust. This is not a prediction anymore. It is describing what is already happening. The switch is worth it. The only question is when. That is the full comparison, Rust versus C++ in 2026. We covered the philosophical difference, the performance reality, benchmarks with parallel matrix multiplication in both languages, tooling comparison, the CXX interoperability story for migration, where C++ still wins honestly, and a decision framework based on your specific situation. The short version, in performance they are equivalent. In safety, tooling, and developer experience, Rust wins. In ecosystem maturity for specific domains like games, C++ still holds. For new systems projects in 2026, Rust is the better default. If this helped you make a decision, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds and genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe for more Rust content every week. Drop a comment below. Are you currently writing C++ who is considering Rust, or are you already on Rust? I read every single one. Check out the Why Big Companies Are Rewriting Everything in Rust video for the full production adoption story, and the Agile Framework series for Rust systems programming in practice, both linked in the description. Come join the Discord, link in the description, and support the channel via Buy Me a Coffee, also linked below. Thanks for watching and happy coding.